And welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How are you fellas doing?
I'm doing well, man. The Bears Tankathon has started. I'm happy about it. Starting off the season 0-3, getting a butt whooping from the Chiefs this past weekend. Zoo, I know you were a happy man there. That should have been your bet last week, man. Chiefs covering anything and everything, man. Alternate minus 20.
Should have been,
minus
man.
20. But fantasy, hell of a week for fantasy. I know we'll probably get into it here a little bit with our week 3 takeaways. But yeah, man, high scoring, super fun to watch, especially the first slate. That was one of the most ridiculous first slates for fantasy scoring purposes I've ever seen. So it's always exciting when you can just sit on your couch for 6 hours and really enjoy the explosiveness of the NFL.
That explosiveness, man, was not felt by me, man. I was just watching everybody go up 150, 160, 150, 150. And I got like 93 points, man. Just absolute embarrassment by my team, man. As the general manager and ownership of my franchises, embarrassing performances. Embarrassing. I got brothers dropping touchdown passes. I got guys getting negative yards on catches. I got guys throwing interceptions and fumbling the football. An absolute embarrassment of my team. Man, if they have like another week like this, I gotta ship some boys out, man. I might have to ship some boys out, man. I don't need these bums on my team right now, man. I don't need no bums on my team fumbling the football and throwing picks and not getting touchdown passes when those touchdown passes hits your freaking hands, man. AKA Calvin Ridley, AJ Brown. Catch your damn football, please.
2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns for AJ. That could have been possible.
Yeah. Tough one.
Yeah. AJ Brown, I kind of was telling Zoo before the pod, I knew there was going to be a concerted effort there. But, I mean, come on. If he's going to get you the ball, I need you to at least bring down one of those touchdown passes. That would be nice. Because that was kind of a deciding factor to me.
Get touched, man.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just lack of concentration or – I mean, and no, I'm not going to give him no bill because, listen, Mike Evans had that sick one-handed catch over the middle, and it was pouring down, raining for him too. So, I need AJ to bring that one touchdown catch in. So, I can't – I was going to give him some bail, but I can't do it. But, that was the, Monday night cap that happened last night, and that was kind of the end of the week 3, season for the NFL. So, I wanted to ask the guys what were the biggest takeaways and people. So, I'm going to go ahead and start with you.
I guess I had 2 teams I really want to highlight, and they're both kind of impressive on one side of the ball. One kind of revitalized themselves, and one is the Cleveland Browns, man. I was actually genuinely impressed. The Titans are not a joke to play against. Jerome Ford had a pretty nice game. Amari Cooper finally showing out. It looks like him and Deshaun Watson might be finally getting on the same page there. Big rebound performance after kind of all the news that we've seen with Nick Chubb the past week and a half. Pretty much losing your best player. And they come out and get a huge dub that, Zoo, I know you thought was going to come out a little bit differently.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. I've never been more wrong my entire life, man. Holy crap. I was watching that game. I was just like, man, that ain't the Deshaun I watched last week. He actually throws some dimes, except for that one time he was trucking the ball backwards. That's the only time he looked like a bum. But outside of that, he was making some nice deep throws. And Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, he was throwing it pretty accurately. So
I like that really considered effort to Elijah. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And DPJ got going too. Peoples Jones, he's kind of always been the third guy there and just productive whenever they get him the ball. But the thing I've been most impressed with that, man, is their defense. I have their fantasy defense in 2 of my 3 leagues. Jesus Christ, man. You can play these guys and, they're not – it's not like getting Devin Hester and starting the Bears defense back in the day and you assume he might actually get a punt return for a touchdown. But this team gets sacks. They don't give up many points. Derrick Henry got absolutely shut down by the Cleveland Browns front with Myles Garrett, who I know people have been talking about. That one picture he had post-game, dude, I think somebody said it looked like CGI. Jesus Christ, man. He is not like human sometimes. And imagine facing even Derrick Henry's probably like a little step back when he's running towards Myles Garrett. So impressed with the Browns. That was a big win, especially in that division where the Steelers are staying relevant. The Bengals are now hopefully a little bit more back on track. And we know what the Ravens are. Got gypped a little bit in that missed PI call. Zoo, I'm sure you were sad about those couple potential Lamar Jackson points going down the drain after that missed PI. But yeah, man, that's probably been my most impressed team, I guess, just for an expectations versus what actually ended up happening. And the other one, man, is the 49ers. I think they're just a better version of the Cowboys. They really are. They have such a great defense. Their offense is clicking on all cylinders. Brock Purdy just gives you a cool 20, right? Fantasy points. He's not going to be. He's pretty much just a younger version of Jimmy G, a little bit more athletic. But they got CMC. Debo had finally a huge game. Thanks, Debo, for not doing that.
Especially without Ayuk in the lineup.
Yeah, without Ayuk. And of course, Debo does this the year I don't have him. Of course, he's back on track to being a fantasy monster. And then we know what George Kittle can do. So I just think I've been most impressed. A lot of people have been hyping up the Cowboys after the first 2 weeks. But after this past week, I just think the 49ers are the strongest overall team in the league by far.
Interesting. Absolutely agree with that, man. But for me, man, is that Dolphins offense, man.
Yep.
We saw history. We saw history, man.
Yep.
We saw history because, like, if you look at the Denver Broncos, like, my expectation for the Broncos, offensively, okay, whatever. But defensively, like, coming into the season, they were pretty good last year.
Yeah.
They were pretty solid last year. Like, outside of being, like, a very mediocre team, they had a good defense. But Jesus Christ, man, somebody's going to get fired, man. Somebody's going to get fired. 70 points. Like, these are some, like, Madden numbers, man. 14 touchdowns, 21, 14, and 21. Like, you got Mike White out there, like, throwing 2 passes, and one of them was, like, a 70-yard bomb, man. It was actually absurd how easy they made it look. Like, they were scoring so easily that the head coach felt bad for them and be like, we're just gonna kneel it and not kick the field goal. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, I'm like, first of all, no sportsmanship at all. You kick the field goal, try to go for the record. Like, who cares? The other teams try to stop you from scoring the football. Game's not over. I would have kicked the field goal, but the guy was a little nicer. But Mr. Tua Tagovailoa, man, 23 for 26. Perfect. I still remember when I was watching the game, it was like he was like 11 for 11. The guy like hit every single pass. Like, nobody dropping passes on his team. When he throws to his wide receivers actually catch the football. Tyreek, obviously, being Tyreek as usual, man, gets another 157-yard game and a tutty, man. This guy's the fastest man alive in the NFL world. Like, you got guys like Raheem Mostert. Which now he leads the league in the history of football right now. 5+ yards per carry. He's number 1 right now. Based on 500 minimum carries, he has like a 5-point-something yards per carry on a high volume side. So this guy, his entire history like of football, like he's always been a very efficient player, but he's always gotten injured. And right now, he's staying healthy. Got his 82 yards, but then the freaking backup running back, who's fast as shit, too. Devon Achane. Never heard of this dude. Devon Achane, it's a rookie. He came out supposed to be a really fast guy. Jesus Christ, man. Raheem, Devon, and Tyreek, man. They record stats about fastest players. All 3 of those guys, man. Top five right now in the NFL, based on the highest miles per hour ran, based on their tracking data.
8 touchdowns, Zoo, between the 2 of them. That's just ridiculous.
That is absurd. Like, right now, like, this Dolphins offense I always loved Mike McDaniels ever since he became head coach. His schemes, it's just something about his creativity. I've been watching a lot of football and a lot of red zone football and a lot of bad offensive football. Like, people a little rusty. This team ain't rusty at all. No. They're out here blasting teams right now, like 70 points, and their offense is cooking. And Tua, man, Jesus, when this guy is healthy, when he's playing elite football right now. Like, we forget, like, last year, he started off extremely strong until he got, obviously, all the concussion issues, and then, obviously, he hits again, and he's out for the season. They got to bring a quarterback, and pretty much their season was over. Yeah. But when he's healthy with this offense and with this low-key run game that I did not see coming, because I thought they were going to be trading for a running back in the offseason. Turns out, no, RB position, man. Cook. You don't need that. You don't need – you definitely don't need Dalvin Cook, who is washed. I love Dalvin, but that dude is washed, man. Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, and this Chris Brooks guy who like come out of nowhere, the 3rd-string running back. Like, that dude averaged 7 yards a carry, 9 carries, 66 yards, man. They're just playing a backyard football right now.
Hats off to the O-line. The O-line needs to be taken out for a steak dinner, man.
Dude, seriously. Like, Jesus Christ, like obviously Devon Achane, this guy's gonna be the high free agent. Like, everybody gonna try to pick him up if he's available in fantasy football, man. Like, he had led the team in carries, 18 carries. So, my goodness, the Miami Dolphins, man, put on an absolute clinic, and he had a Magic Johnson no-look pass. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Like, I'm saying this, man. the Miami Dolphins offense this year, based on this year's performance, looking better than the Kansas City Chiefs, man.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna go there.
Incredible.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
incredible to
with you.
watch them. Like,
I'm with you.
Jesus Christ, man.
Tyreek
Just blitzing
OPOY, man.
Mhm.
Offensive player of the year.
Oh, yeah, that man looking
We all
real
agreed.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah,
man
we're
looking real
all
nice
in
right
unison
now,
on that
man. Oh, man, I just need that brother hit 1,800, 1,900 yards or 2K yards. So, him or
Yeah.
Justin
Well on his
Jefferson
way.
right now.
You know, another thing, like I almost wonder, with the Dolphins, I know they had Jeff Wilson Jr. and I know he's coming back from injury. I almost wonder, like, just having him as another weapon too. Like, it's early to have the talk of like, oh, they're going to run the table, and I think their division is just too tough because they have the Jets
The
who
Bills
have an
this
elite
Yeah,
year.
the
defense,
Jets not so tough
and you
no
have
more
the
now.
Bills. I'm not talking about like they could win the game, but I'm just saying going against a defense like that, the defense might be
yeah.
a little tough to go against. But the Dolphins are looking like, in terms of just their offensive power and their defense is like, okay. And who knows, maybe Jalen Ramsey comes back later in the year, but they might be able to run the table. And I would love personally to see the collision course of the Dolphins versus the Chiefs, just because of, I mean, that could be a 45-point AFC Championship game on both
You
sides.
bet the
which would
over
be
on that one.
crazy.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Definitely bet the over. I bet the over would be like 100, like set it, or the line for that probably like 100.
Probably like
points. It's
87. It might be like
Yeah.
87, I swear. No, it
Yeah,
wouldn't be
something
that high,
crazy.
but-
Real quick, is Tua better than Justin Herbert? I think he is, because I think the apex, he's better.
No,
His
no,
apex
no.
has been better
I
than Justin.
can't give him
Justin's
that.
more
I
consistent.
can't give him that because of the coaching. He has a better coach. Like you got that
Way
clown
better coach.
Brandon
Yeah,
Staley over
By
there, man.
far.
That clown
Yeah.
Brandon Staley that's fighting for his job right now, doing
I don't
some
know what he's
foolishness that almost cost his team another game. Like he got lucky, Kirk Cousins didn't get it done. But
Per
the
usual.
coaching differential in skill between McDaniels
scheme.
and that guy completely different. Like if
So you
Herbert
think
had
if
a coach
Justin
like
Herbert
that-
was in
Oh,
Miami
Oh,
with that
Jesus
coach, he would
Christ.
be
Jesus
Tom.
Christ. He would put,
It-
he
way
would put
better.
up those numbers too,
Dude,
man.
he'd be MVP.
Yeah, dude.
Like, that'd be
Oh
a
my
lot.
God. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I don't know.
But
I
I
just
also- that's a
thought
good
about that
question.
because we were talking about it. Because Tua's like I was looking back at some of his apex games. Like this one was an apex game, but even like last year, like his height, like his ceiling of how good he's played is almost like top 2 and 3 in the league. Like his best games, like he consistently hasn't been there because of injury history and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
I don't know. That's an interesting conversation. But for me, one of the takeaways I was looking at this weekend was one of the more boring games, Saints versus Packers. And I'm very impressed with Jordan Love, even though statistically that game wasn't the greatest. Him not having his left tackle, not having his top receiver, and not having Aaron Jones, and still managing a way to pull out that game makes me excited for their future prospects in terms of winning that division, especially after seeing Minnesota basically give the game away to the Chargers, even though the Chargers tried to give it to them.
Give it away.
You know, with the
Yeah, you take
Vikings,
it.
the Vikings not being any type of threat right now in the NFC North. I just see the Lions as being the only threat there, and I just like to sit. Him being down 17-0 and being poised was really telling to me. Like, okay, he's been behind Aaron Rodgers. He's seen it all. He's been through the fire. Just being on the bench and seeing how Aaron Rodgers has handled stuff. I just really like his composure. And to me, when you're looking at young guys and teams that have quarterbacks that are, not the A-listers or whatever, having a guy that at least knows where to go with the ball. He has a coach, which I think is really important, that drafted him and is scheming things for him, which is just uber important for any young quarterback. I think the Packers are showing me that they just know what they're doing. Management-wise, top to bottom, they just know how to draft players because, free agency-wise, they get some guys, but they usually don't get the A-listers because who the hell wants to go to Green Bay, Wisconsin to play football? You just don't want to go there. So they are able to draft well. And to me, I've always been critical of them because I'm like, why do they always get second and third round receivers? Well, it doesn't matter because the guys they get in the second, third, and fourth round are always pretty good. They're either pretty good or they're to a point where they could be an A-list, like Devontae Adams. I mean, Devontae Adams coming out, he was, I think, a second-round pick, but I don't know if anybody was like, yeah, Devontae Adams, he's perennial all-pro, like he's going to be this guy. No, he just ended up becoming a guy who was top 2, top 3 in the league. And after this Sunday, he showed again why he's in that conversation as being a top 5 guy. But they just know how to draft. They trust Jordan Love. And once he gets his left tackle back, Aaron Jones staying healthy, that's kind of tough because he's playing running back. So that position, there's always, you could be nicked up and stuff like that. And I don't trust A.J. Dillon. But if he's able to stay healthy and they get Christian Watson back, who I think is a big play guy, and you've already kind of seen it with Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs to an extent, he likes to throw the ball down the field, and he can do that. So I'm very impressed with the Packers and how they are, them being 2-1. And I think with that division, man, it's going to be a dogfight with the Lions. Trust me. I'm not saying that the Packers are going to run away with this division because I think the Lions are going to have something to say about that. I liked how they looked this weekend, even though it's against Atlanta. And Atlanta might be a little fugazi with that 2-0 record. But, yeah, man, I'm very confident. I'm very confident in the Packers. And I'm interested to see how those battles go between the Lions and the Packers this coming fall.
Yeah, I agree. Because watching that game, because that Saints defense, that's a legit defense.
Yeah, legit.
That's a legit
the first
defense.
touchdown they had given up was in this game.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously Derek Carr got injured, so he brought in Jameis, and then their offense fell off a cliff without Derek Carr, so they were able to get it done. But that was a legit defense. Jordan Love obviously didn't play the best game, but he just looks pretty calm out there. It just doesn't look like his brain is what I call the football IQ up there. Something that your guy Mr. Fields a little lacking out there. When coaching tell him a little too much stuff, he's like, "Oh, too much information. I don't know how to process. I'm a robot, man."
But we'll say this though: the difference is, look at Jordan Love's coach. It's a coach that drafted him, and it's an offensive coach. That's not what's happening in Chicago. And that's a point that I will always stick to. You need a coach who was in your corner, and they didn't draft Justin Fields either. So I don't think they're so gun ho. And I'm not saying Justin has not played great. But if you look at all the quarterbacks who are successful, outside of C.J. Stroud, who we're about to talk about, he has DeMeco Ryans as his head coach, who's a defensive guy. You got to have a quarterback or a head coach that is offensively inclined. Because once you start getting these defensive guys in there, unless you hire one of the, I don't even know who the greatest offensive coordinators are, but even look at Jalen Hurts last year. His head coach was offensively inclined, but he had Stan Steichen, who was a guy who he trusted, and he was able to make Jalen Hurts at least, what I think happens with a lot of coordinators, and you guys probably know this, they get so full of what their system is. This is how I do it, and this is what you're going to do, and you need to adjust to what I do because I've been in the league for some odd years, and this is what needs to happen. Yep. And sometimes the greatest coaches, if you look at some of the greatest coaches in our game or in their game, the coordinators adjust to their personnel. Okay, if you're struggling, and I'm just making an example, not using Justin Fields, but hey, if you can't throw that out pass, let's not put that in the playbook. Let's do digs, let's do corners, let's just do stuff that's easier. It makes it easier for you to run. Not saying that's every quarterback is like that, because you have somebody like Justin Herbert who comes in and is just that dude, and it don't matter what offense you put him in. Hell, he's like you just said, he has a coach who is trying to stunt his growth. So I get it. But everybody can't be Justin Herbert. He's an anomaly. So I think that, because if you just look at Jordan Love is proven to be the better quarterback right now. But just if you're coming in and looking at both talent, just physical talent, just Jordan Love is not physically more talented than Justin Fields. He's not.
No.
But Jordan Love's more composed, to your point, Zoo.
Yeah, you got to learn under one of the
most only thing is some of his accuracy downfield, like Luke Musgrave, the rookie tight end. The guy gets open a decent amount of times. He's having
another guy.
He's been very productive for a rookie tight end. Jordan Love has missed Luke Musgrave on a couple of deep passes for some tutties there. He just pretty inaccurate. So right now, obviously he's trying to work on his accuracy, but I like his composure. Just got to work on the accuracy downfield, those deep throw downfields to Musgrave, because that's a nice young talent that they could grow together with.
Well, speaking of young quarterbacks, I don't know if you guys watched the Texas game this weekend. I don't think anybody had that game as a Texas winning that, because I think most people saw that as a Jaguars game. It's being a bounce back game for them, a cleanup game, so they can get ready for whoever they were going to play the next week. But C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans came in and played super efficient, and it kind of got me thinking, with Anthony Richardson, him being injured, which I think part of his, process of being a young quarterback is learning how to maybe slide more and not go for the go for
No,
the lowering of the shoulder as much. But I had a would you rather have, and it's coming down between C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson. So Drew, the floor is yours. Who are you? And you can frame this question as this year, for the next 5 years, whatever. You can frame it however you want. Just who would you rather have currently?
I love this question because both of these quarterbacks, man, they play very, very differently, and they've both been very, very impressive. Because I have much expectations about these teams winning right now. And Anthony Richardson's been injured, but C.J. Stroud, I thought this team be tanking again, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like this team is just not that talented. Obviously, a rookie quarterback, a new system, new coach. Like just everything is new. And C.J. Stroud is out there just throwing dimes to like your boy Tank Dell, the rookie. Obviously, Nico Collins, another young player, a makeshift offensive line, a head coach that hasn't really proved himself. Like he doesn't really have that much he's working. Like Damian Pierce is an okay running
No
back.
running game.
Like
God.
it just doesn't look like he has any of the essential things on offense to pretty much give him a crutch on for a rookie quarterback to develop. But Jesus, 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. 0. He has 0 picks right now after 3 games. It's not like he played 1 game. He's played 3 games right now. And the dude is not like he's a game manager. He's chucking it.
He's averaging
chucking
300.
a lot. Like against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's a playoff team, chucked it 30 times, had 280 yards on 67% completion percentage. Game before that, 384 yards against the Colts on 64% completion percentage, and he had 242 on 64%. So he's been chucking it over 30 and at the top 47 attempts. So he is relied on to kill in the air because the run game is just not there right now. And given the reins to a rookie like that, I'm just like, that is just highly impressive for a guy that's just coming in. Like, dude's been mad impressed because like CJ Stroud coming out of school, I didn't really know. Like all of the quarterbacks that came out this year, I didn't see a sure thing in any of them. Like Bryce Young, obviously the size issue. CJ Stroud, though, inconsistent, but then comes up later in the year and balls the hell out and obviously improves his draft stuff. Anthony Richardson with his accuracy issues, and the guy just hasn't played that much football, man. But I can't believe I'm saying it, man. It looking like CJ Stroud right now is the guy in this draft class because Anthony Richardson, I love the talent. I love the physicality. I love the run game. I love the intangibles. But the one thing is the injuries. The way he plays is extremely reckless, and we've seen guys that are very, very similar to him. I would say his closest comp is like a Cam Newton type guy. He also burst down the scene his rookie year. Like obviously in college, that dude was just legendary.
Cheat code.
He was legendary. He probably had one of the greatest like quarterback seasons in college ever, up there with like a Joe Burrow's that year in Auburn and Joe Burrow's year in LSU. So like he had some all-time years in college, and he came in and trucked for like 400 yards with Steve Smith. So that dude was unbelievable. But obviously Cam Newton got hit with the injury bug. It's just the way you play like that physicality. It can work for a couple of seasons, but in the long term, you have to adjust your game. And you've seen like guys like Hurts. Like Hurts still does his little like his 1 yard like runs, but I don't see him running as much as last year, like rushing like 1,000 yards. And same thing with it's just like you got to protect your body and be able to throw in the pocket a little more. So I feel like longevity wise, like CJ Stroud's like style of play is better than Anthony Richardson. So can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm leaning towards Stroud. But I think this is a pretty big if he had if you're a GMA,
but it's very different.
This is a tough decision because I love both these young quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, Zoo, I'm agreeing with you there. I'm picking Stroud partially, and the biggest tip is the injuries for Richardson, right? I was kind of thinking about this, and I think Cam Newton is a better comp to him just play style wise, but the NFL was very different back then too. Man, you remember how like weird he threw the ball? It was just kind of over rifle. He just rifled it to Greg Olsen half the time on the Panthers, But I was kind of thinking it's a bit of a poor man's entry to the NFL of Herbert and Hurts. I'm not saying that Stroud is as good as Herbert or he's going to have as historical of a season. But like you said, Zoo, he's on pace for averaging, high 200s, low 300s in yardage a game, a touchdown too. That's going to turn into a hell of a season that may not rival Justin Herbert's 2020 season, but it will be up there as one of the better rookie seasons for a quarterback. Especially to your point, he started from day one, and that was known pretty much from the start that he was going to play. Anthony Richardson, I think they knew he was going to get the reins as well. He's not as impressive, and I think that's kind of where I thought of Hurts early in his career. Couldn't really throw the ball. To your point, he did rely on his legs a lot more first couple years compared to this year. That's where I would hope Anthony Richardson trends. But what they have to do is they got to give him more weapons on the outside. If they want to force him to throw the ball, give him guys that he's
I don't know, man. Michael
throwing the ball.
Pittman, man, he's having
Michael
an
Pittman's good.
extremely good season. Only wide receiver in the league with
I agree,
8
Zoo.
catches in the first 3 games right now.
I agree, but what was the deciding factor for Jalen Hurts, man? Tua Tagovailoa. They all got a
But
stud.
maybe
two
Pittman's
weapons.
I'm saying Pittman's that guy.
They need 2 of them, though.
I'm saying Pittman's that guy.
But Zoo, they
he
all
can
went
stay.
for the big splash, and they also drafted Devontae Smith, AJ Brown.
Okay, that just spoiled, man. That just their quarterback is just spoiled with too much talent, man.
Okay, well, you could also argue this. I know you don't like him that much, but Stephon Diggs, they had Gabe Davis, who is not horrible. He can still give you a big play.
Okay, Gabe Davis is a 2. Yeah, it's a 2. They don't need 2 ones. Like Devontae Smith, that guy could be a 1 on a lot of teams.
But my point is, look at all the great quarterbacks and look how they all have 2 at least.
Yeah, all the top 5 guys have two weapons. None of them have just one guy.
Chase.
The top 5 guys, yeah.
Even Matthew Stafford has Tutu Atwell and Puka.
About to have 3.
Yeah, we just lost your audio.
Yeah, I think we just lost his audio. He's passionate about the 2 receiver sets.
Not gonna lie, Puka Nacua, man. Puka Nacua broke the sound barrier. Broke the sound barrier.
Puka, man. Listen, that's another one I'm interested to see what happens when that guy Cooper Kupp comes back.
When Cooper Kupp comes back, because Jesus Christ, man, like Puka Nacua had a off game, 70 yards. Dude's just consistent, man. Absolutely consistent. Yeah, Stafford just loves looking at him, force feeding him the ball. Yeah, him and Tutu Atwell, the young guys, really, really showing up for the Los Angeles Rams. But
do you guys hear me now?
Oh yeah,
we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. No, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if they want him to take the next level and kind of force him to throw the ball more, the only way to do that is to just give him more weapons. I'm sorry, Alec Pierce is not it. Paris Campbell, not it. They don't even.
Josh Downs is nice, but he's a slot. He's a slot guy.
Yeah, he's a slot guy. So I'm leaning towards Stroud as well. I just think, to your point, Zoo, I think the injury thing is spot on. That's really the biggest thing. But it's also just the nerve of, can Anthony Richardson take the step like Hurts did, or will he deal with something?
I feel like he will with the coaching. Like the guy from the Eagles is over exactly on the Colts. And I feel like the development, obviously, over the summer, we saw a lot of improvements between him in college versus him right now in the NFL. So I feel like development's there. So we got some, like, after that draft with the Zach Wilson, Justin Fields draft, Mac Jones draft looking a little shaky out there. Like this draft that we had recently looking kind of nice right now. Nice little hot start right now. Let's see if they can maintain it. Now he gets some film on them and see defense is making adjustments. But they're off to an extremely good start right now.
Mm-hmm. And to your point, Peebush, about Stain Steichen being the guy that was with Hurts. I mean, Stain Steichen would probably be the first one that's echoing your comment, saying that, hey, I think we would need 2 alpha receivers. Yeah. That would be nice to have. Like, I don't know where the Colts are going to finish, but just imagine if, like, they were able to get their hands on Marvin Harrison Jr., if they were in that realm of, like, possibility in drafting, like him and Pittman. And then, I mean, I don't know where Jonathan Taylor's going to be, but just put whatever type of back there. Like, just put another rookie back there. Like, they would be dirty. So, I still got my stock in Anthony Richardson, and I think it's just because of the ceiling factor.
Oh, yeah.
I think if he were to click and hit, it would be higher than CJ, and that's just because of the rushing aspect. I'm not too worried about the injuries, even though it's kind of concerning that he got the concussion, and then
back-to-back games. Like that first game, he got hit late, he had to leave, and then the second game, obviously, he gets a touchdown, gets hit again. So in the red zone, like he loves running it in. So
I think it's just youth. I just think it's youth. I think it's him just being like, someone like Anthony Richardson. And we're like making a comparison against Cam Newton. And Cam Newton, I think, suffered from a little bit of this. The only difference is Cam Newton just really never got injured early because he kind of was more of a freakazoid in terms of, because I think he's bigger than Anthony Richardson. And I kind of do think that Cam, he was basically a defensive end. So even though he was getting smacked around and the league was more physical, Anthony Richardson should understand that you're not Cam Newton. And I do think after these couple of games of him not playing, And plus too, like I mean, Gardner's not going to take a job, but it's never nice seeing the backup go in and win. It's just never nice to see that. So yeah, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. So I just like that he's got Steichen as his head coach. Steichen had Jalen Hurts. Steichen's going to put the guys around him to make him successful. I think his throwing motion is super fluid. I think he's got a kind of semi-quick release. And I do think, you know, if they even keep Jonathan Taylor, just that aspect of having that alpha type of back, you know, I just like their ability to rush and, you know, play action and do that stuff more. One thing I will say, though, about CJ Stroud is kind of the thing with Jordan Love that's interesting. Like him being a rookie, and even though Jordan Love's been in the league for 4 years, but it's his first time actually playing. CJ Stroud, you can just tell he's uber confident because it takes a lot of cojones to just be like, okay, Tank Dell's my number one. I'm just going to trust him. I'm going to throw him the ball. Like Tank Dell was just at Houston last year. That, like, you know, I know you got Nico, John Mechie, and all them other guys, Robert Woods, but he's like, nah, Tank Dell's getting open. I'm just going to make the right reads and throw it to him, and he's confident. And to me, that is a really good sign because all respect to Tank Dell, he's a slot. Like, and you're making him your number one guy. So if they were able to get some, you know, I mean, and shout out to Nico Collins, I think he's taking a step up because of Stroud. But if they were able to get another, you know, number one receiver, I think that could be a really, really big development with Stroud and him being a top quarterback. And, you know, he's doing it with and there's no shade to D'Amico Ryans, but he's a defensive guy. He doesn't have like an offensive guy who's making him more efficient and easier, maybe making plays and designs easier for him. So for me, I would just pick Richardson just because of the upside. I think his upside is tremendous. MVP. And they're both in the AFC, so they're going to have to be really good because the quarterback playing the AFC
in the
is
same division
out of this world. Yeah, that too. Trevor Lawrence, man. Talk about like you thought you were just going to have like an easy, you know, next 4 to 5 years. No, I don't know about that, but
well, and let's not pass up on this. The division's pretty open this year if the Jaguars keep falling a bit. I mean,
1 and 2 doesn't look too nice.
They're going to win the division.
They haven't looked good in all 3 of their games. They didn't look good in the first game, even though they won.
They barely won.
Titans, Colts, Texans, Jags. I mean, it's just yikes.
The AFC is a bear, bro. It is a bear for quarterbacks. It is a bear. Like you got almost how many? I don't even know how many teams. How many teams is in each division? AFC, NFC.
4.
I don't even know off the top of my head.
16.
I'm talking about 16. Like 16. How many bad QBs are on AFC teams? Like how many bad teams have? You have to go through and look, but it's like I don't think it's a lot.
Probably, I would say Zach Wilson and Mac Jones come out at the top of my head. But outside of that,
Russell Wilson, maybe.
Yeah,
like there's not a lot.
Yes, Jimmy G's okay. AFC Tannehill, South, we already talked about.
I would say Tannehill's in that bottom tier, but that's pretty much it. Like 4. Elite or good.
So it's like you got to be on your A game in AFC, bro. Yeah.
Oh, Kenny Pickett.
Oh
yeah. Even though he looks solid, in his last game, but that's more of a factor of the Steelers' defense. Is just they always are.
They're
unreal.
Getting so many touchdowns.
Yeah. So, like I always say, we're gonna have a little bit more of a segment dealing with Would You Rather, and that was one that I thought was interesting. So, going on to our Week 4 bets. Not. I don't know for your audio listeners or the visual listeners. It was a rough week for the people who place bets on this pod. I will say that the Tennessee Titan one, I had it like my gut when I was cutting up the stuff and putting like what I'm going to put on the channel. I was like, I don't, because I'm a Deshaun guy, so I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I just don't have a good feeling about it. But I did it anyways. I was like, screw it. And what was hilarious was one of my friends, he's a Browns fan. And he was just like, dude, like, go on. Like, are you serious? Like, that's Titans money line. Like, get out of here. Like, come on. And I was like, you know what? I probably shouldn't have posted it. And he was right. So that was a tough one. Like I say, you can't win them all.
No.
But we're going to start off with P. Bush and his anytime touchdown bet. And what do you got for us this week?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, the Kelsey one was a lock. Everyone knew that was going to
happen. Oh, yeah, Taylor Swift.
Kyron Williams, that one surprised me a little bit. The Bengals front was
the volume
manhandling the Rams, just manhandling them. But Keenan Allen, man, are you telling me this man catches 18 balls, 200 plus yards, and he
Man,
only
I don't know. He threw for a touchdown, man. Doesn't count.
I know. That's not an anytime touchdown, man. Come on.
crazy.
I just kept watching. I'm like, oh, he's for sure going to score on the next one. And there's just like
20
Donald Parham.
targets,
Donald
200
Parham,
yards.
2 touchdowns. So, yeah, man, tough week there. And, of course, Sam Laporta, when I pick him week 2, he scores week 3 on a nice 60-yard bomb. So, there's another good young tight end. You're talking about Luke Musgrave, man. Laporta is rated the number 1 dynasty tight end right now.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
This week, man, I'm going with 3 guys here. It's a very high-scoring week potentially across a couple games. Focusing on Devontae Adams, James Cook, and Alexander Madison. So Devontae
Madison.
Oh, I don't like Madison.
Here we go. You ready? You got to remember they're playing the Carolina Panthers, and they can't stop anybody to save their life. And you think on top of that, the Vikings can throw to anybody. They have 3 legit weapons. KJ Osborne in and out a little bit. He's okay. He scored last week. So
yeah, TJ Hawkinson, Addison, and Justin Jefferson's elite.
There you go.
Receiving.
I'm expecting them to either be running the ball just to run clock, or they're going to go up so much that they're just going to run the ball. And my point is, man, Kenneth Walker, 2 touchdowns. The Saints did struggle a little bit, but that's also one of the games when Jamal Williams kind of started getting tweaked, and God knows they have Tony Jones Jr. as their backup at the time before Kendra Miller came back. So they had a little bit of an iffy game against the Panthers defense, also division. But the big one for me was what the Falcons did to him week 1, man. I mean, Tyler Algier and Bijan combined for almost 140 yards against this Panthers defense, 2 touchdowns as well. And I just think the Vikings are due for a big game, and what better to confidence boost than off of the worst team in the league. So Madison's kind of I think he's going to have good value. That's the value add there. James Cook, man, this guy's due. He gets almost 20. He pretty much averages 20 touches a game, both on the ground and through the air. Gets all of his goal line taken away. But I think this is going to be a lot of big play games in the Bills-Miami game. We were just talking about this division a little while ago. That's going to be a hell of a scoring game. And I think they're just going to have to rely on a bit more of fast-paced offenses. And that's just getting the ball to James Cook, Stephon Diggs, they're big play guys. And I just think he's finally due. So I think he'll have pretty good value there. Devontae, enough said, man. If Jimmy G's playing, the only thing to monitor is his concussion protocol. I think he is still going through it at this point. So maybe consider somebody else if you are looking for a stud wide receiver to score this week. But if Jimmy G is playing, and hell, even if I think Brian Hoyer's their backup, he gets so much target share. Man, he almost had 50% target share this past game. I think 44 attempts, 20 of them went to Devontae. He's pretty much a lock to score. He will probably be in that Christian McCaffrey minus 200 range to score, but you got to have at least one guy that's a lock in there. But yeah, I'm kind of going RB heavy this week. I think there's going to be a decent amount of blowouts, and there's also going to be some high scoring games. So that always favors the run game in the end because you got to somehow get the big plays going.
Mm-hmm. Madison, huh?
Mm-hmm. If he doesn't fumble.
Jesus. The Vikings got a fumbling issue, man. Jesus Christ.
They have no backup.
They're Cam Akers. Cam Akers.
Oh, they do have Cam Akers. I don't want to trust him.
He didn't play last week.
Doing this first game, though. Yeah.
He might be.
I would wait.
He might be playing this week, but who knows about the Vikings? Yeah. Fumbling issues, man. So my spread pick this year, man. I must apologize to America for my pick from last week, man. That was the most embarrassing pick in my history of spread picking in my entire life because I had them cover, not just covering, I had them winning that game. And Jesus Christ, man, that offense was putrid.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry was putrid. He had like 20 yards rushing.
Yep.
20 yards. And that Cleveland Browns defense, and one thing I love about this team, their defense legit. Myles Garrett, looking like the Hulk out there, man. Jesus Christ, man. He just looks like a freak of nature out there sopping thumb. And Deshaun Watson actually had a good game for his first good game of the year. So good for Deshaun, him and Amari Cooper getting some rapport. So shout out to Deshaun Watson, man. But I must apologize to America for that blasphemy of a pick, man. And I'm here for redemption this week. Here for redemption, man. And I am going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars -3 against the Atlanta Falcons, man. -3. They are at home. This is a Jaguars team had high expectations of winning the division. Obviously, they're off to just a dreadful start, man. Just a dreadful start. Like, you lose to the Chiefs, okay, that happens. You lose to Kansas City, okay, that happens. But losing to the Texans, losing to a rookie And by a lot. My
Yeah, they got smacked.
Jesus,
Yeah,
they got freaking smoked, man. And Jesus, you allow a rookie just actually embarrass you. And you were at home. Just think about that.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, man. It's just embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. And I feel like they're going to feel the embarrassment. And I swear to God, Calvin really got to stop dropping touchdown passes, man. Jesus Christ.
This is wishful thinking, Zoo.
I was super high on him this year. And you know what? My favorite word is regression to me, man. He ain't going to be dropping more touchdown passes this game, especially against this Falcons team. This Falcons team offense, man. I love Bijan, Tyler Algier, nice little, cute little backup running back, man. But Jesus Christ, they cannot throw downfield at all. So, like, this offense is going to be running, grounding, and pounding. Very, very predictable offense. Jaguars defense, man, they're going to be playing with the chip on their shoulder after getting embarrassed by a rookie, but mostly through the air. So this is a guy in Desmond Ridder. He ain't going to be doing damage in the air, man. Like, the only game that he had, like, a nice little QB rating, it was against Carolina Panthers. And you know what I say about the Carolina Panthers? 0-3, about to give their pick to the Chicago Bears, of extremely high first-round pick, because that team is terrible. The Bryce Young version. Andy Dalton won like slightly a little better on offense, but the Bryce Young Carolina Panthers. So like that team, I think, is one of the worst teams in football. So they had that nice little win, and they had that little comeback victory over the Green Bay Packers. Okay, that happens. They had a little comeback game, but I just don't like this Atlanta team. The offense is just not there. And obviously they got a little exposed by the Detroit Lions, who had a little butt whooping like 20-6. But like Desmond Ridder, man, I'm just like, the dude's QBR is 36. You know what that ranks the NFL? 29th. 29.
Is Fields worse?
Yes.
That's all I need to know.
You already knew the answer, man. Why'd you even ask that?
Oh, my
29. Wow.
Yeah, 29 has a QBR of 36. Like, the guy's just not going to do damage in there. And I feel like this is just a bounce back week after 2 losses. Like, the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, like, I had them as like a 10-ish win team this year. Obviously, they're 1-3 right now. So I see them getting back on track this week. Get back on track against the Atlanta Falcons at home.
I like that pick.
I'm not mad at it. Only thing that scares me is if Atlanta gets a lead, them running the ball with Bijan and Tyler, like that's just how they're going to set up to win games this year. But yeah, if Jacksonville cannot mess around and get ahead 14-0, especially with Trevor and Calvin getting in the rhythm, then Atlanta, they're not built to come back. They're built to get a lead and stay on top of it. And yeah, I'm not a fan of Ridder, man. I'm just Ridder has made me almost like want to drop Drake London. Just I don't even care if someone picks him up. I just don't care. Because it's like he's not gonna have a high upside. And I know I can't do that because he'll go off as soon as you put him on the waiver wire. But it's just saying, like, you know, that's been the most disappointing because for him to have Pitts and London and just not know any type of way to get them the ball consistently. Yeah, I think Jacksonville is due for a smackdown of the Atlanta Falcons. And is that at home or is that in Atlanta? I'm not sure.
They should be tanking for Caleb.
Jacksonville is at home.
Okay,
so you just get -3 at home. I'll take those odds.
Yeah, I like that. So but that was the pod for this week. Make sure you guys are tuning into our bullheaded_pod on Instagram. You know, basketball is right around the corner. Training camp's gonna be starting for that. NFL's in full swing. College football was exciting. Shout out to that Notre Dame and Ohio State game. That was a classic game. I was able to watch that this weekend. Clemson, Florida State was also a great game. So the games in college football just continue to get better. So make sure you're tuning into the channel to see all the updates on that. Quantrill Knows on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You know, we're on SoundCloud a little bit, still trying to get the algorithms into that. Probably going to have to reset the password, to be honest. But make sure you tune in to SoundCloud to see if we can get some listenership on that. And for me, Zoo, and P-Bush, we are out.